first video of the series, The Worst Maritime Disasters. Now, let's know about the worst maritime disaster to have been encountered by the human race. Motor vessel Wilhelm Gustloff was a German armed military transport ship which was sunk on 30th of January 1945 by Soviet submarine S-13 in the Baltic Sea while evacuating German civilian refugees from East Prussia, Lithuania, Latvia, Poland, and Estonia, and military personnel from Gotenhafen as the Red Army advanced. The number of deaths was humongous. It was larger than the deaths during the sinking of the Titanic, the Lusitania, the Sultana, the Empress of Ireland, the Britannic, the Atlantic, and the Halifax explosion combined. By one estimate, 9,600 people died, which makes it the largest loss of life in a single ship sinking. Now that we know the basics, let's know about the history of this vessel. Wilhelm Gustloff was constructed by the Bloemendaal shipyards, measuring 208.5 meters long by 23.59 meters wide, with a capacity of 25,484 GRT. She was launched on 5th of May 1937. The ship was originally intended to be named Adolf Hitler, but instead was christened after Wilhelm Gustloff, leader of the National Socialist Party's Swiss branch, who had been assassinated by a Jewish medical student in 1936. Hitler decided on the name change after sitting next to Gustloff's widow during his memorial service. Now, let's talk about the ship's maiden voyage. She made her first unofficial maiden voyage between 24th and 27th of March 1938, carrying Austrians in an attempt to convince them to vote for the annexation of Austria by Germany. How the ship was used during its lifetime. Originally made to be a cruise ship, she served as a hospital ship from September 1939 to November 1940. On 20th of November 1940, the medical equipment was removed from the ship and she was repainted to standard naval grey. As a consequence of the Allied blockade of the German coastline, she was used as an accommodation ship for approximately 1,000 U-boat trainees of the 2nd Submarine Training Division. Her final voyage. Wilhelm Gustloff's final voyage was to evacuate German refugees, military personnel, and technicians from Courland, East Prussia, and Danzig, West Prussia. The ship's complement and passenger list cited 6,050 people on board, but these did not include many civilians who boarded the ship without being recorded in the official embarkation records. Heinz Schön, a German archivist and Gustloff survivor who extensively researched the sinking during the 80s and 90s, concluded that the Gustloff was carrying a crew of 173, 918 officers and NCOs, 373 female naval auxiliary helpers, 162 wounded soldiers, and 8,956 civilians, for a total of 10,582 passengers and crew. She embarked on her final voyage from Danzig at 1230 hours on 30th of January 1945, accompanied by the passenger liner Hansa, also filled with civilians and military personnel, and 2 torpedo boats. Wilhelm Gustloff's captain, Friedrich Petersen, decided to head for deep water, which was known to have been clear of mines. When he was informed by a mysterious radio message of an oncoming German minesweeper convoy, he decided to activate his ship's navigation lights so as to avoid a collision in the dark, making the ship easy to spot. It was soon sighted by Soviet submarine S-13 under the command of Captain Alexander Marinetzko. He then ordered his crew to launch 4 torpedoes at Wilhelm Gustloff's port side, about 30 kilometers offshore. The first was nicknamed for the motherland, the second for Leningrad, the third for the Soviet people, and the fourth, which got jammed in the torpedo tubes and had to be dismantled, for Stalin. The 3 torpedoes which were fired successfully all struck Gustloff on her port side. The first torpedo struck the bow, causing the watertight doors to seal off the area which contained quarters where off-duty crew members were sleeping. The second hit Women's Naval Auxiliary, located in the ship's drained swimming pool, dislodging the pool tiles at high velocity, which caused heavy casualties, and only 3 of the 373 quarter decks survived. The third torpedo was a direct hit on the engine room, located amidships, disabling all power and communications. Reportedly, only 9 lifeboats were able to be lowered, and after the torpedo's impact, many lifeboats got destroyed. Since the water temperature of the Baltic Sea was only 4 degrees Celsius at the time of the sinking, many deaths were either caused by the hit of the torpedoes or by drowning in the onrushing cold water.